Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone today?
Great.
Good. Good. All right. Well, seeing as that we only have a half hour, I thought I would make something that's very simple and fast for dinner. We've decided on kind of a Mediterranean theme. We're doing a lamb sausage over an arugula, orange, and feta salad. And I'm just going to show you a couple of different things. The first thing is I took the lamb sausage and I just browned it in a pan. I did that earlier so that we didn't have all the smoke and all of that going on. So I'm gonna let that rest. This is kind of meant to be, excuse me, an appetizer or a picnic dish. The sausage doesn't have to be hot. It can be room temperature. It's perfectly fine. We have our arugula right here. I'm gonna go ahead and start to make the dressing for that. We have oranges, which I don't know if you've ever segmented an orange. Does anybody know what that is? Okay. And segmenting an orange really just means you're getting rid of that bitter pith that's in between. It's kind of a skin. So I usually just go ahead and, if I'm making a fruit salad, something like that, if I want to put oranges in there, I'll do that. So I'm just going in and taking the skin off.
Is there a particular type of orange that you find that's juicier?
Juice oranges.
They're called?
They're just juice oranges, yeah. Navel oranges I'm hit or miss with. Usually they're not very juicy for me, so I kind of stay away from those. Littler oranges, if you feel them, they're going to have some give to them, so you know there's a lot of juice in there. If they're not terribly juicy or if it's not terribly soft, pop it in the microwave for a couple of seconds, and that helps to release some of the juices, just like with your lemons and your limes as well.
How many seconds?
I'd start out at like maybe 5 and then go from there, do increments of 5.
Does the lamb sausage have orange peel in it?
The lamb sausage
Yes.
does. There we go.
Zest.
So glad you're here. What's in your sausage? Is that a trade secret?
There's a little bit of beef and pork as well to make it a little bit juicier, along with the orange zest and different spices. So.
Yeah, lambs are pretty lean. Okay, so we've got our oranges. I'm just going to go ahead and use this bowl to make our dressing. I'm going to use the juice from the orange. Do you all shop at Riverside Foods? God, I love that place. So you all know about Village Batch then, right? This is the best olive oil, and I love this little top on it, because usually as a chef, when you're using olive oil, you end up doing one of these things or doing one of these, and it's very cumbersome, especially because your hands are always, you know, sweaty or oily or whatever. So this is really nice because it just drizzles on its own. I like that a lot. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And do a little bit of coarse salt. And a little bit of pepper. And this is actually a different kind of pepper. This is a spice company called Knox Spice. They sell it over at Riverside as well. And Knox is actually, the owner is a good friend of mine, so I like to use his products as well. But I like this pepper because it's not just straight pepper. It has a little bit of salt in it, has some cumin in it, some other things. So I really just use this as my go-to pepper now because I like it so much. So just gonna whisk this up a little bit. So the best way to tell if you've seasoned your vinaigrette is to actually use a leaf of your lettuce. If you just taste it on a spoon, you're not really telling what, you know, all lettuces have different flavors. So I think this is pretty good. So I'm just gonna drizzle this on there. Get my tongs. You never want to overdress a salad. You shouldn't have a big puddle of dressing in the bottom of the bowl. All right, I'm going to take our sausage. which has been resting. Give it a little cut on a bias. And this is going to be served with a little tzatziki sauce.
How long did you cook the sausage?
It was probably maybe 10-15 minutes.
And why do you let it rest?
You should always let any meat that you're cooking rest. What happens when food cooks, when meat cooks, it relaxes. It gets very, I'm in a sauna, you know how you feel when you get in a sauna, your skin's all loose, and then when it stops cooking, it needs to gather itself back together. Otherwise, if you cut into it right as it comes out of the oven, all your juices are going to go everywhere, and you're going to be left with dry meat. So every piece of meat that you cook, I don't care if it's a hot dog, you should really rest a little. Well, maybe not a hot dog. Take our plate. A little bit of arugula. And this is nice if you want to put this out for a buffet or something, or for a picnic. You can do a nice long platter of it, and people can just kind of grab it as they want. And this is being paired with the lemon saison.
Yeah. Everybody likes it with the glass.
Do a couple of little orange
Saisons are
segments.
usually nice and dry. This one's exceptionally lemon and citrusy. Brewed in the Chicago neighborhood of Pilsen. All culinary inspired beers.
We want to taste it.
So
Taste it with the
So is this imported feta or domestic?
it is imported feta, yeah, authentic Greek. And there's a difference between French, Bulgarian, Greek feta. French can be creamier, but the authentic Greek is good.
You're not biased, are you?
No, not at all. It's only one time you don't want to have tzatziki, and it's before a date. It's a lot of garlic in it.
Ah, unless she's having the tzatziki
Yeah, right.
too.
You have to share it.
First time I've had lamb sausage, it's very good.
Yeah.
Although Riverside's Italian sausage is very good too.
Yeah, the hot or mild for you.
Mild,
Mild.
usually hot once in a while.
Here you go. Anything to drink right now?
Does everybody have their lemon saison? So you should definitely taste that with the beer. It should bring out the lemon in the beer.
Oh, I like it a lot better. The beer, I like the beer a lot
With
better.
the
Once
food.
I
With the
had-
food, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little lemony for me
It is. It's
before I had the food, but it's really nice food.
The duck I already went ahead and seared off, but we can talk about that once it comes out. So in my heavy bottom pan, I'm going to start to get this hot. Add a nice little healthy drizzle of my favorite olive oil. How's the arugula salad?
Very good.
Good?
Lovely dress.
Tell me the truth. If you don't like something, let me know. I'm not one of those people that gets upset. That's how we learn.
I've been told that when you are using olive oil to fry foods or, obviously I use my best olive oil in salad dressings.
Yes.
But I use a much less, not the extra virgin
Right.
fry. Is that something that,
Pete and I have had this discussion.
Yeah.
I was taught that you don't use olive oil for high heat
right,
because it breaks down. Pete has schooled me that his olive oil is actually it's very good with heat. It doesn't break down. I wouldn't deep fry. I wouldn't necessarily pan fry like a crab cake or something. I don't know if
100 and 450 depending. So once you see it smoking, then it's too hot. It really starts to break down the Clair to me. But ours usually it's about 425. It depends, you know.
So what's this dish that you're making with that instead of
This is spicy sweet duck breast. It's a boneless duck breast that Riverside sells, which I'd never had before. And my husband was very excited when I had to test these recipes. He ate really good that day. But it's a nice product. They're individual, they're frozen. They don't take long at all to thaw. So you'll see when you get the snap peas, there's a little bit of char on them, which I love. Charred vegetables are delicious. I'm going to grab the duck breast.
So Pete, you guys sell boneless duck breast?
The which one?
It's boneless duck breast?
Yeah. They're from Indiana.
Do you have it all the time?
Yeah, frozen.
Okay.
I didn't really know how to cook duck that much.
No.
Claire kind of showed me.
How long did you cook the duck for?
The duck actually takes a little bit of time. I seared it in the pan, got a nice golden brown crust on it. So searing it in the pan, I probably had it for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then I put it in a hot oven. You could finish it in the pan, it just takes a lot longer and there's a lot more smoke happening, and the top of your range gets very dirty. But this actually, I was really impressed with how nicely this cleaned up. I just wiped it down, and I couldn't even tell that I had messed it up. So, I had it in the oven to finish cooking for about 10 minutes, and then I've just had it in the oven keeping warm on 100, which is bread proofing. You could do up to 100, 200 would be ideal to keep it warm. But even though it was in a hot oven still, I'm just gonna let this rest for a minute while I plate up the peas. And these peas are actually gonna get scented with some orange zest as well. It's kind of a theme I have going here.
I have a question about the olive oil. I've been told, or read somewhere, that when you saute in olive oil, the benefit of olive oil is gone.
I think it comes down to that smoking point.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, once it's smoking, the benefits totally gone. Health benefits, flavor breaks down, and you'll notice the difference. Also, even how you store your bottle, like keep it out of light, keep it in an area that's doesn't get too hot or any extreme temperature. So like in the cupboard is probably the best rather than next to the stovetop. You'll see it, yeah.
I leave it right next to the stove.
I used to too. But you start to lose, with light damage and temperature damage, you start to lose the antioxidants in it, the flavor, and a lot of things, and you'll notice the difference here.
It'll even change color.
Yeah.
You can tell it's very pale. It almost looks like it's going rancid.
Yeah. That's exactly what happens. It goes rancid. Yeah.
Keep it in the cupboard.
And you know when that oil goes rancid, boy, there's not a smell. It will.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, you should always smell your olive oil before you use it, just in case. You never know. It doesn't take much time at all for it to go bad. So I'm just going to take an orange and do a little bit of orange zest on top.
Is there a certain type of knife or brand that you prefer?
I like this. It's called Global, but really, as long as your knife is sharp, it doesn't matter. All right, so we're going to take a little bit of this is just a little sweet chili dipping sauce and a little bit of sriracha together. And this is what I mean, making it simple. These two ingredients by themselves are phenomenal. Just adding them together gives it a little bit more punch, takes a little bit of that sweetness away. And now you've got a nice little sauce for your duck.
And did you do anything to the outside of the duck except just?
Salt and pepper.
Okay.
And then once it was in the oven for a little bit, I just put a little bit of sauce on the top of it here and let it caramelize.
This is my favorite. It's a nectarine IPA from Moody Tongue. Totally picks up on the citrus a little bit from the chicken, or from the chicken, duck.
Duck.
It's a great summer beer. Should you want me to go on through?
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Sure.
So the next thing I'm going to do is, and I want to talk about the stove a little bit, because one thing I learned when I was here, when we were talking about this, is that the range from high to low is very accurate on these. I don't know if you've ever used a Landmark or a Blue Star stove rather, but when it's low, you can barely even see that there's fire there. It's just phenomenal. So we're going to go ahead and toast up some coconut for our dessert. And this dessert is kind of, it could be a dessert, it could be a breakfast. We're using it as a dessert today. I've made it a little bit sweeter. We have, let me get these out of the way. This is the only dish that we're not using the extra virgin olive oil in, although I probably could. So we have some of Pete's Greek yogurt.
Thank you.
Which I seasoned with this wonderful caramel sauce. This is Epic Sea Salt caramel sauce. There's a couple different flavors. I like the salt because whenever you're baking, anybody bake here? Yeah. You know you always want to balance out your sugar with your salt. It's just salt and sugar go together just like pepper and salt do. So I seasoned it up with some caramel sauce, threw some berries in there, and we're going to toast up a little bit of coconut for on top for a little bit of extra texture, and then that's our dessert. So it's a little yogurt parfait or a little, just a yogurt and berries for breakfast. Yogurt, especially Greek yogurt, you know, is very healthy. Berries, of course, also very healthy. You don't want to turn your back on your coconut though, because before you know it, you're going to have not so good coconut.
Starting to be fragrant.
Yeah. And that's basically just like when your nuts are toasting, you want to turn the fire off because it just, like that, it can go. All right, so we had pure white coconut. Now we've got lovely brown coconut.
Did you saute that in something, or it's just its own oil?
Just its own oil, yep. So I'm just going to take a little bit of coconut and top each of these in here. And then this is going to be paired with the chocolate.
The chocolate churro Baltic porter. Baltic because there's a little bit of salt in it too. The churro is just kind of a reference to the neighborhood Pilsen. There's not actually
Here.
in it. I thought there might have been.
Thank you.
And porters are great style. You get dark and roastiness, kind of like a stout, but it's a little usually lighter in body. I'll trade you.
All right.
I'm not a fan of yogurt, but it tastes like
good.
cream.
You like that?
What brand is that?
It's
It's authentic Greek yogurt. It's so it's made with goat's milk, which you get a little sourness to it. It's probiotic, really good for you too.
And got lots of protein.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. and fiber with the berries, so it's, you know, a very complete dessert or breakfast. So that's it for the demonstration part. I hope you enjoyed everything. Thank you.
Thank you.